Well, I adopted this dog. She was abandoned in the desert, and I don't have any skills training dogs. She needs to be socialized and just basic skills, basic behavioral issues.
And what kind of behavioral issues are you having?
She pulls when I try to walk her. She pulls me, and just learning basic behavior like sitting, how to play. I need to learn how to play with her. I need to learn skills too.
So you need sit down and calm.
Yes.
You need, sit down. Just basic commands is stay. She doesn't have any kind of stay.
No.
So yeah.
No. Just,
She's a jumper.
she's a jumper.
She jumps on people.
She's a jumper,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I'm hoping that David can help me, and we can both live a happier, safer life.
Here we are with Sophie on her first day of training, and she is not good at the front door and obviously wants to pull through there. There's another dog there in the yard, so she wants to go after that dog, of course. Let's see if she can she sit, or can she come? Let's see if she can do a. Let's see if she can do a down. So she doesn't know what down is. And of course, in the presence of other dogs on a leash, she gets really excited and overstimulated, obviously. So this is a good picture of how she is before the training. Down. When I am practicing a down with her, I'm still doing this with my left foot as I say the command. Sometimes she'll hesitate a little bit. She's not quite at the point where you just say down and she, boom, goes there every time, no matter where you are. And we're doing these videos out in public where there's a lot of noises, a lot of things going on. And so, since this is really where you're going to be doing your tough training when you do take her someplace, I just want to show you what you'll probably have to do for a while. As you can see though, the command is still pretty good. I don't know if you can tell on the video, but I really just barely touched the leash. It's more about her seeing the foot go up and going down. And if she was to stay with me for another week or so, I wouldn't have to do that anymore. But she's almost at the point where you don't need to do that. But I think for a while you'll have to be doing it, because of course she needs to get used to being handled this way by you. So there'll be a little bit of catching up to do with her and you after I deliver her back to you. So instead of saying down and having her hesitate and then you having to apply pressure and put her there, just from day one, just do down, and she'll go right down just like this. And then of course once she's there though, the stay, which is usually the hardest thing for the dog, stay is rock solid, as you can see, and she's getting better and better every day we practice. So once you say down, she'll stay there. Of course I keep just doing this basic down stay where she accepts me walking all around both ways. And then she's going to get a reward for that, and it's just like we would do on the mat exercise, which is in another clip. Good. I put it down between her feet, I withdraw, she takes it off the ground as a reward for staying there. As you can see, we don't say the command down. So we don't say the command stay. So when you say down, it means to stay. So all you have to say is just down, and down means to stay. We've never said stay with her. She doesn't know what it means. And if she does get up before you release her, you'd say no. And let's say that she got up here, I'd say no and put her back. Don't say down again. You already said down once. If she makes a mistake and gets up before you release her, say no and put her back like that. If she's next to you, you do the same thing. No, put her back. and then continue the exercise and make sure that she does wait until you go and stand back next to her, pat your leg and say, okay, and then sit, because you always release her from a calm down stay by having her sit first, exactly like that, and then release her from a calm sit stay. Go, like that. Okay. And you'll have a much calmer dog if you do that for a while, because what tends to happen with dogs when you release them directly out of the downstay, they're anticipating that they're about to be free, they're right on the edge, and they pop up and they run around, they're all excited because they're done. And it doesn't help that people usually say, like, okay, and like the way that they release them is in a very excitable way as well. And of course, the byproduct of this training needs to be that she's released from each command, and she's a little bit calmer every time you do that. So really, we want the byproduct of this training to be a calmer dog 24/7. So you need her to be calm when you release her. So it's okay, she sits, release her from a calm sit stay, and you see how calm she is when she's released in that way out of downstay. And everything ends with a calm sit stay. Everything we do, it ends with a calm sit stay, and everything that we start, when we start it, it starts with a calm sit stay. That's all the training. Call her back to come to you, sit, go, all that kind of stuff. So everything ends and begins with a calm sit stay, just like that. Okay, good. Sit, good. We, of course, never repeat the commands, and sit means to stay, so when I tell her to sit, she's going to stay there and wait until I release her in a very specific way. If I would have said sit and she didn't sit right away, I wouldn't have repeated it. I just would have pulled up with a little bit of pressure, and her butt would have gone to the ground, and as soon as it hit the ground, I would have released that. So you're not hanging, jerking, popping. It's more of a relaxed and steady pressure, and then release as soon as her butt hits the ground. And all she knows is she heard the command once, and she ended up going there. That's why her sit is so good now. But she may, she's getting used to being handled by you, or if she's out in a situation that's stressful, she may be distracted or not quite as good as you see she is with me here. So you may have to do that for a while, but I had to do it for a while in the beginning, and then of course now I hardly ever have to do it again. So just in case that starts happening to you, that's the way to handle that. And then of course, if she stays there, she gets a reward, and this is the way I reward her from a sit stay. Eye contact, straight down, and if she wants it, good. She did. Sometimes she's kind of finicky with the food here, but this is that Natural Balance sausage that she really loves, so usually she'll take it. But that's the way you reward, straight down, eye contact, good, just like that. And really resist that urge to do this, because that's not going to make her think that you're important. If your hand just comes down and feeds her and she's not looking at you in the eyes like that, it just makes you much more important to reward her the way I just showed you. So to release her, she's waiting for you to walk back next to her, stand there. And there's two ways to release. Either you pat your leg and say okay, which means she walks with you, or you'd pat her chest and say go, and she goes out in front of you and she's on free time. In this case, I'm going to take her for a little walk in training mode, so I'm going to say okay, and she's going to walk with me. Sit. Good. Okay. Sit. Good. Okay. Sit. Good. Okay. Sit. Good. Okay. Sit. Good. Those are called, surprisingly enough, consecutive sits. And it's also a great way to practice with her. It slows her down, slows down all that pulling that she was doing before. She starts to anticipate she's going to have to sit every couple of feet. She has to focus on you. She has to wait to be released. She gets rewarded in that way, where she's eye contact with you every 5 seconds or so. Just a great way to practice, another way to practice teaching her to walk next to you and being calm. And then of course, when you release her, go. From doing that stuff, she's way calmer. When she's on free time, she doesn't pull. So that's a good thing to do, even if you just do them for a minute a day. In 1 minute, you can probably do 8 of those in a row. and then you're done for the day. So of course all this stuff is about the quality of what you do, and actually what you do and the quality of what you do, and not about spending a ton of time, but just doing things very effectively, having successes and ending on a success with her so that she just keeps getting better and better instead of, you know, drudgery, practicing too much, having to make a bunch of mistakes and ending that way. So just always, even if you just have 3 or 4 minutes a day, just do a little bit of all these things at different times and end on a success, and she'll still keep getting better that way. Come. So I just surprised her, called her to come to me. Good. Saw what I did was I think she was in the shot. Was she in the shot? Okay. So she was looking that way. I called her to come to me. She turned immediately towards me, saw me backing away with this target. The reward was in my right hand. I always do it the same way every time. Left hand leash over your wrist like that, so there's no way you could ever lose her. Even if you're not paying attention to her, it's like this. And if she bolts after a rabbit or something, then you're gonna be able to catch her. So always put this around your wrist and your left hand. Right hand reward, we'll do it again because she's sniffing. Come! Sniffing, running back to me. She's kind of tangled up, but that's okay. Good. She'll step out of it. That's another thing. If she's tangled up when she's coming to you, don't worry about it. Usually that's what happens, is when she gets to you, she just steps out of it, and just make sure that you lower the leash down low so she can step out of it. But it's so much easier for you than to have to get down there, or maybe stop in the middle of your recall and get down there and mess with her and take the leash out from underneath her. So you saw how she came to me, my right hand target. As soon as she touched my hand, it opened. She got her little reward. We're using these Natural Balance pieces of Natural Balance sausage. She loves them. But when you're using this target, and it's a closed hand, it's a fist, she doesn't know it's empty. So if you practice this enough, whenever you say the come command, she doesn't know it's empty, so she's just going to want to come to this. Already she comes to it pretty automatically. Excuse me. So you want to always use this target and back away. You see that I back away whenever I say the recall command. She can't help herself. She's going to rush to you, and if she's unmotivated, like on a hot day like this, good. You're practicing, and she's not. By the way, she's not even hungry right now because sit. It's very hot. You want to just do little prompts. I think you probably saw there because she was kind of distracted, unmotivated to come to me, and I just did, like, literally it was just a little tap and she came running to me. So when she's in the worst of moods and doesn't want to do it, that's the most you'll have to do, is just a little prompt to kind of get her going again. You're backing away. She's drawn to you because you're backing away. It's so much better than standing still. So when you're practicing with her on a leash, always back away when you call her to come. And then later on, because you practice that way, she'll come running to you every time, whether she's on a leash or not, or whether you back away or not. Sit. Good. We're going to do this greeting routine with a new person that Sophie doesn't know. Turn around to your left there, I'm sorry, your right. And we have a barking dog, and she's very distracted by that, but she still has to do this anyway. Go say hi. She gets a treat, she gets petted. Come! And she didn't even take the treat. She's kind of excited. And it's also a hot day. Maybe it's too hot for her to want a treat. Sit. I called her back to come to me. I stepped into her, walked her back. There's another treat. Had her sit. She waits till I come back to her with my right hand. I pat her chest and say, go say hi. There you go. She gets petted. You can pet her with your other hand. Your right hand. There you go. And then come. Of course, she wants to jump. Sometimes she jumps when she's excited. Good. One more time. Sit. See how I'm doing it? I'm calling her to come. I'm stepping into her, having her sit again, stepping away to the person that I want her to meet respectfully, not jump on. She waits till I come back. I pat her chest and say, go say hi. She gets the treat and petted, and then I call her, come. And this is really good to do because we have that dog behind us barking like crazy, and she's keeping her focus. Sit. Even though she's interested in him, wants to go over there, but she's doing pretty well at this point. And of course, it's a great way to show her that she has to be respectful of people that come to your house and visitors. And of course, you have the leash, so if she does get excited, you can call her back away from them, just like you saw me doing here. It's a great way to practice just meeting new people. I just want to show you how I walk Sophie when she's on free time. And it's a perfect way to do it because she really is in love with the camera person, and so she wants to go over there. But see, even now, she's still waiting. She's not pulling. It's not like this. I'm not doing this. If I were to do this, or if I were to try to restrain her, it would make her pull. So you always want to start the walk out by having a loose leash. We're going to start walking towards the person. And she's wagging her tail and she wants to go over there, but she won't go. If she does go to the end of the leash, I just do that, and see how that works? And that's just what I've always done. It's not even associated with a command, although you could say come and call her back to you. That helps draw her back to you as well. Good. And she doesn't even care about the food right now, but she just has to come to me because it's automatic now. But if you call her back to come to you a lot, she'll be drawn back to you a lot more and tend to hang out closer to you the whole time. But also that just way to handle the leash, where you're just, if she starts getting to the end of the leash, you just do that and she'll stop. And if that's the way you handle her consistently, then that just becomes a norm, and you see her pulling a lot less. If there's less pulling and there's no tension on the leash like that, she's going to calm way down on your walks. But you have to start the walk off like this. So just like that other clip that we made for you of the front door, you got to do that at your doorways. Start off the walk like that. Make sure that you don't let her pull at all in the beginning. Maybe do some sit stays. Maybe do the mat exercise for 5 minutes before you go on a walk, so that she's in the zone. She's much calmer and easier to control. And you'll have this every time on the street if you just keep doing what we've been doing. But it's just that how you handle the leash when she's on free time matters as well. So you're never doing this again. You're never choking up and like that, because that will cause more pulling. So keep it loose. Do those little signals when she starts to go to the end of the leash that will stop her, as you saw I just did, and call her back to come to you a lot, just randomly, so that you can give her that new impression of you. And that's what I did, so she'll start acting more with you as she did with me. Sit. We always have her sit at boundaries, especially the front door is a really important boundary. She sits, I step in, I step back, she waits till I come back next to her, I say okay, and she walks in with me. And obviously there are other dogs everywhere, fence line over there, fence line there, as we walked in, and she's able to stay in the sit stay even though they're barking at her. So she's really developed a lot more focus here. Sit. So see how I came? I did a left circle, left turn to position her and have her sit in front of the mat. And I'm going to pat her chest and say, go to your mat. And then say, down. And see how I walked over with her? I said, go to your mat. I kind of walked over with her. I said, down. If she doesn't go down right away, just step on the leash and reinforce that down. Never repeat any commands, of course. And then you just start this little exercise, just very easily, where you're just practicing a basic downstay, of course, where she actually stays in a downstay as you walk around from both directions behind her. She accepts that. She's calm. She's not good. She's not trying to jump up or popping up. You see the way I'm rewarding her is on the mat. Good. See how I place the reward on the mat? I withdraw. She waits till I withdraw. She takes it off the mat. It's the way it is every time, no matter what you do, where you go. When you come back, you always reward the same way. Basically, I'm holding the treat like this and just straight down like that. I place it on the mat. I let go of it. She waits till I withdraw. She takes it off the mat. She's not touching your hand. She's not grabbing it. This whole exercise, excuse me, is about calmness. Even though she likes it. You'll see a lot of dogs wag their tail when they're doing it. They're having a good time. But they have to stay focused and calm to stay in a downstay no matter where I go, no matter what noises I make. Therefore, it develops, every time you do this, it develops a higher level of focus. Day after day, week after week. And we've added, as time has gone on, we've added all these different distractions now that would happen in a regular house. But also, you want to do this in your backyard as well, because you have an issue in your backyard where she's excited back there because of there's lizards or rabbits or whatever, and she may jump the fence too. So we want to practice this out there. It'll make her more manageable in that space as well. Wherever you do this exercise, that the dog starts to perceive that area as more of like the calm zone where they pay attention to you, they're focused on you, and she's a lot more likely to come when called out in that place if you do this mat exercise out in the same spot in your yard as well. And also, of course, practicing your recall, your come command as well. Sit. Go to your mat. Down. She loves doing her mat exercise. She loves going to the mat. We're doing this outside because, good. I think you should do this out in your yard because your main issues are actually out in your backyard where you have a short fence and she did have a history of jumping over it or acting really overstimulated out there in that little yard you have. And so I think you should practice this little mat exercise on your deck. Good, in the shade. And then when it's a cool part of the day, out in other places in your yard. And so that's why I'm doing this in my yard, to show you how you do this. First, you start just by doing the basic downstay where you walk around her both ways. She stays there, she gets a reward. Always reward her like this. Good, see how she waits? She takes it off the mat after you've withdrawn. She's never touching your hand, never grabbing it out of your hand. You have to insist that she's calm and that the reward is delivered good in a calm way like that. So you just set it down, let go of it, withdraw, she takes it off the mat. You don't throw the food down. It's not quick, jerky movements. It's all about this focus that every step of this exercise, whether you're going somewhere, walking away, dropping the leash like this, walking farther away in your yard, no matter what happens, you come back, it's calm, she's calm, you deliver this calmly. And if at any time she gets up, you stay calm and you say no. Let's say she just stood up, you're going to say no. I pivot on my right foot and then I use my left foot to just put her back. That's all you say, is say no. Don't say down. You already said down once. That one command down should hold for 5 minutes if you do this for 5 minutes, which is what I do. So I'm walking farther away now. Hopefully the camera isn't blocked by something. I'm going to walk over here, come back. Good. I'm going to walk back here. And I think this yard is about as big as yours. So you can walk all over the place